I'm at the etrailer. If you have a 2023 BMW X5 and you're looking for a set of chains that are going to last you a long time and are going to get you through those pretty heavy snow and ice conditions, then the Pewag tire chains with the square links and cams are going to be a great option for you. So let's check them out. Now we are going to have this on tire size 275 45 R20. That's just the tire size we have today. It will fit a variety of other sizes. And we're also going to have this on the rear axle as what the manual recommends. It also recommends turning off your rear axle steering just so you can more safely drive with these chains. And if you're not sure if these are going to fit your vehicle, you can actually plug in your vehicle's information into our fit guide to find the right one for you. And if we take a closer look at these chains, these are going to be constructed from a nickel manganese alloy steel. So what that means for us is these are going to be some chains that last a long time. They're going to be very sturdy and they're going to be very rust resistant. And we're going to have this square link design to them. They're also going to have these grooves built in, and that's going to give you that really great traction for driving through ice and snow, especially for those heavy conditions. Now this will also come in a variety of different sizes depending on the chains you do choose to go with. That's actually a size above these that are going to be for more of those extreme situations, a little bit more than heavy duty. But either way you go, you're still going to have plenty of clearance for your chains to sit underneath your wheel well. And if you look at the front of our chains, you'll notice right next to this ladder pattern, you'll notice we have our cams. These cams are super easy to use. You have an included tool that you can just flip this around and tighten it into place, and you're going to have 3 of them. And sometimes you won't have to use all 3 of them. This time we did, but I think it's giving us a really good fit. I can barely get this to budge right now. I still recommend using a tensioning device separate from these, just because if you are driving around, what can usually happen is your chains can shift, and once they shift, they usually loosen up. And so if you have a rubber tensioner, for example, what it's going to do is constantly apply tension to your chains, so even if they do loosen up, you'll still have a good fit. And if you don't have one, you can find one of these on our website. Now what will come with your kit though is going to be 2 sets of chains, and it's more a light duty bag. I'm okay with the bag, but since you do have these more rugged chains, they're probably going to tear through here pretty quickly. So what I'd recommend doing is just investing in a small tote to keep your chains in so they just last longer and they're a little bit easier to access. Now if you are curious about the installation, just stay tuned, we'll walk you through it. To start off the installation, I recommend grabbing some gloves just to make this a little bit easier and laying out your chains. Now there's a few things we're looking for with our chains out. We're looking to make sure we don't have any damages to the links. So we're checking over the welds, making sure those look good. And then we're moving over to the links themselves, or the hooks. We want to make sure these are facing up so the flat surface will be making contact with your tire. And right next to that, we want to make sure our cams are on the outside closest to us and furthest away from your tire. And we want to make sure it's not already in the tighten position. That's what it's going to look like in the tighten position. So just make sure if it is, just switch it around and then you can start putting on your tire. And the best way I find to do that is just to locate the center of them, lift up, and just drape them over. With it draped over, we can start kind of making sure everything's even. So I'm just going to push this up. We don't want it to have contact with our rim, scratching that up. We also want it to be even on either side. So I like to stick my hand behind our tire, just make sure it's good. I'm going to do all that all the way across until I move to the side. And from here, I'm just going to be rearranging those connection points on the bottom so they're a little bit easier when we do need to make those connections. And speaking of those connections, we're going to start on the back side because that's a little bit tougher to get to. And we're just going to be grabbing this metal hook and connecting it to some of these links on the other side. And this can be a little bit tricky for a couple reasons. One, it's a tight fit underneath here, and 2, if you are making these connections, then you want to make sure it's going to be even as possible on either side. So you don't want it too tight, or you won't be able to get the same or even fit on the front side, and you don't want it too loose where it could loosen up and damage something. And the connection process is going to be the same on either side. So we're just going to be grabbing this hook, lining up with these links. I'm going to do my best to try to get it on the second one. And there you go. And now what we're going to do is just come back through, see how this feels, and this is pretty good. This is where I wanted to sit at. It's still a little loose, but that's why we do have these cams to help us fix that. So we're going to grab this included tool. And the way this is going to work is you're going to have this flat surface edge to it, and it's going to go into this hole. You're just going to put it in there and then twist till it tightens down, and you're just going to keep going until you can't turn these anymore, or until you run out of cams. So that second one was pretty tight, but I think we can get it a little bit more maybe. Go find out. Get to this last one, start turning. There you have it. Now this is a really tight fit. I'm liking the way this looks. When I'm moving these, I can't even budge them. But even so, I'm still going to grab a rubber tensioner because it's going to give me a lot more peace of mind when I'm driving around. And the best way to do this is to kind of put it on in a star pattern so that tension is evenly distributed. And when you're making those connection with your hooks, you want to make sure that hook is facing away from your tire, just so it doesn't puncture anything. Then again, just come back through, give it another pull, it's not budging, so you can repeat that process on the other side. After which, pull forward some or back up some, just to make sure you're still getting a good fit. And if you are, then you can take it out for a ride. But that's just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Pewag tire chains with the square links and cams on our 2023 BMW X5. I'm Matt, thanks for watching.